Good afternoon to all our listeners and viewers of the NDC Heartbeat podcast. We're happy to welcome all those who are listening on radio via WeFM. We've got Vibes FM, Spice Capital Radio, 100.5 FM out of Labby in Grenville. We've got Right Along out of Brooklyn, New York. And of course, we have the NDC Facebook online platform and YouTube. So, welcome to another NDC Heartbeat episode for this beautiful Sunday afternoon. A little bit cloudy outside, but still, albeit very beautiful. So, what we're going to be doing today, for those of you who missed the throne speech, we shall share with you the Governor General's throne speech to the Houses of Parliament, ceremonial state opening of the fourth session of the 11th Parliament of Grenada. Her Excellency Dame Cécile Lagrenade presented the throne speech. It's just about an hour and 10 minutes, and there were a few interviews held by ministers of government after the throne speech. We'll also share that with you. So take note for those who are listening on radio. Please join us on the online platform on YouTube or Facebook. So that's your program for today. Thank you for joining the Heartbeat.
You have chosen unity over disunity. You have chosen resilience, flexibility, inclusiveness and strength over infighting, weakness, vacillation, or wish-washiness. You have chosen boldness and courage over timidity and the same old, same old. You have chosen positive change and transformation. You have sent a clear and resounding message to the tri-island state of Petite Martinique, Carriacou, and Grenada that the National Democratic Congress is once more on the path of inspiring hope and belief in our people and in our nation. That the National Democratic Congress is once more on the path of beginning the process of creating a sustainable and brighter future for our young, vibrant, creative, and innovative population. You have recognized and honored and rewarded the tremendous contributions made by all of the NDC stalwarts. And for this superb choice, I say thank you.
Grenada is moving forward, and the young people like you are at the heart of it. The National Democratic Youth Movement is all about connecting, learning, and making real impact. This is your chance to be a part of something bigger, to grow, to lead, and shape the future while making a difference. If you are ready to step up, have your voice heard, and help build a better Grenada, then the National Democratic Youth Movement is the organization for you. Join us because you are the future.
Get ready for a night of celebration. The NDC New York chapter proudly invites you to our party's 30th anniversary and awards reception. Happening October 18th at 7:30 p.m. right here at Our Lady of Miracles Paris Center, 757 East 86th Street, between Flatlands Avenue and Glenwood Road in Brooklyn. Dress to impress and join us as we honor our legacy and empower our future with special guest of honor, Honorable Kerryn James, MP for St. John. Tickets are $150 all inclusive. Get your early bird discount for just $125 before September 19th. Visit ndcnewyorkchapter.com or call 347-729-5770 for more information. Celebrate Grenada's excellence. Secure your ticket now for the NDC New York Chapter's 38th anniversary and award reception. Be part of an unforgettable night of elegance and class. Don't miss the party of the year. See you there.
The National Democratic Congress Party wishes to take this opportunity to extend thanks and appreciation to Leslie McQueen and his team out in Florida. That's the NDC chapter, for this great donation which they have recently made to the New Life organization, making a great difference for the young people at the New Life organization institution. It consisted of tools and equipment, and it's an entire 20-foot container of such equipment. Thank you very much, Leslie, and to you and your team. Thank you very much. Continue the great works. Goodbye.
Madam President, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, as we open this new session of Parliament, I am once again reminded of the matchless grace and mercies of Almighty God, whose hand has guided and preserved our beautiful nation over the years, as well as the enduring strength and resilience of our people, who, time and time again, have risen from setbacks and challenges with courage and determination. I am further reminded of the spirit of community that binds us together as Grenadians. Whether in moments of triumph or in times of trial, we stand shoulder to shoulder, proving that no obstacle is greater than the will of a united people. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, just over 3 years ago, the wonderful citizens of our nation entrusted my government with a strong mandate. It was not just a mandate to govern, it was a mandate to transform, a mandate to heal what was broken, to restore what was neglected, and to build a society that works better for the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. The mandate was clear: move Grenada forward. Today, I stand before this honorable House with a simple truth: my government is delivering. We have laid a solid foundation to accelerate our transformative agenda in healthcare, education and skills development, youth empowerment, housing and renewable energy. We have maintained macroeconomic stability and invested heavily in key productive sectors such as agriculture and the blue economy, tourism and the creative and cultural industries, ensuring robust, inclusive, and sustained growth. We pursued a people-centric approach to development, ensuring that no one is left behind. Since assuming office, our economy has grown by an average of 5.1% annually, with the economy on track to expand further by 4.2% this year. This strong growth performance has translated into real opportunities for our people, with the unemployment rate falling from 13.9% in the second quarter of 2022 to a historic low of 9.8% by the first quarter of 2025. Meanwhile, through prudent fiscal management, our public finances have remained in good shape. Added to this, our financial sector remains well capitalized and liquid, contributing to business and investor confidence. These achievements were realized despite major setbacks, most notably the passage of Hurricane Beryl on July the 1st, 2024. Hurricane Beryl was a Category 4 storm, tested our resilience, and demanded of us not just fortitude, but unity. Yet, it has also reaffirmed a deeper truth, that Grenadians do not stand still in the face of adversity. We rise, we rebuild, we advance. Post-Beryl recovery, building back better. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, Hurricane Beryl changed the landscape of our country, literally and figuratively. It devastated homes, infrastructure, livelihoods, and lives. Carriacou, Petit Martinique, and Northern Grenada were especially hard hit. But in the face of this catastrophe, the people of this nation have demonstrated unshakable courage, grace, and determination. In just over a year as a nation, we have made substantial progress in not only restoring what was lost, but in building back better. That notwithstanding, there are those who are still hurting. My government emphasizes that all our citizens who continue to be affected by the impact of Beryl and renews its commitment to providing support to help restore lives and livelihoods and rebuild the economy of Carriacou, Petit Martinique, and Northern Grenada. A fiscal strategy for recovery, resilience, and transformation. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, my government's fiscal policy for the medium term will reflect both the urgent need of today and the bold ambitions for tomorrow. Guided by the Fiscal Resilience Act of 2023 and the 2026 to 2028 medium-term fiscal framework, my government will adopt a counter-cyclical fiscal strategy. This approach allows for a temporary, accommodative stance in 2026, recognizing that reconstruction efforts will extend well into that year. From 2027 onward, a more disciplined and restricted fiscal path will be implemented to safeguard our hard-earned gains and ensure long-term fiscal and debt sustainability. This strategy will ensure that while we are supporting post-disaster recovery, we are also preserving our capacity to invest in economic transformation, social equity, and national resilience. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, the theme for this new session of Parliament is delivering a better future together. This theme embodies my government's steadfast commitment to honor the trust placed in us by the people of Grenada. It reflects our responsibility to deliver meaningful results today while building on the solid foundation we have laid for a future shaped by our shared vision. Our focus remains fixed on our long-term national vision, Vision 2035, and now Vision 75, which seeks to make Grenada a model of inclusive, sustainable, and prosperous development. Strategic priorities of the new session of Parliament. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, completion of Hurricane Beryl recovery is a top priority for my government. Key initiatives will include completion of the Windward Jetty, new construction or completion of Build Back Better houses in Carriacou, Petit Martinique, and on mainland Grenada, the extension of tax relief on building material for reconstruction, the continuation of the Business Reactivation Fund program at the Grenada Development Bank, the rehabilitation of roads and bridges, and the rebuilding of the Dover Government School. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, my government is making solid progress in advancing its transformative agenda. In this new parliamentary session, my government will redouble its efforts to accelerate the implementation of key policies, projects, and programs under 4 main pillars, mainly 1, education, skills development, and youth empowerment; 2, healthcare; 3, affordable housing; and 4th, renewable energy transition. Education. Mr. President, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, in the area of education, skills development, and youth empowerment, my government has made remarkable progress. Of note is the ongoing work on reforming the curriculum aimed at making education more relevant, practical, and responsive to the current and future needs of a thriving Grenadian society. Other key achievements include expanding scholarship opportunities, upgrading schools' infrastructure, introducing free hot meal program for primary and secondary schools, and the free tuition program for students attending TAMCC and NULO. Legislative priorities included amendments to the Education Act to increase the age of school leaving to 18. In this new session of Parliament, my government will continue its focus on upgrading schools' infrastructure, curriculum reform, integrating ITC into the education system, and improving the overall access and quality of teaching and learning. My government has approved a new digital devices and e-book management policy which sees the government investing in the purchase of military-grade laptops for all approximately 6,000 Form 1 and Form 2 secondary school students. Each laptop costs $1,793, amounting to a total of 10.6 million EC dollars. This is a comprehensive initiative to equip the students with e-books and laptops, creating a foundation for digital literacy and educational advancement across Grenada. My government is also engaged in extensive consultations with stakeholders to produce a new and comprehensive national scholarship strategy. This is aimed at ensuring further and significant investment in our human capital, and in particular our youth, but also to allow adults the opportunity to re-educate, retool, and reskill, given the competitive work environment. It will focus on ensuring that our scholarship opportunities are aligned with our national development priorities, particularly in the areas of healthcare, technical and vocational skills training, hospitality and tourism, agriculture, food security, culture, and the creative and digital economies. My government has already set up a delivery unit with a dedicated permanent secretary on assignment to focus on establishing centers of excellence to address the significant absence of technical and vocational education in Grenada. The team is tasked with, amongst other deliverables, establishing a marine center of excellence and a hospitality center of excellence. My government will therefore begin the process of realigning its budgetary allocation to education to reflect greater emphasis on technical and vocational education and training, TVET, as currently only 3% of its budgetary allocation is spent on TVET. My government will set a target that ensures by 2030, 50% of its budgetary allocation is split between traditional academic education and TVET, including culture, the creative, and digital education space. Regarding the upgrade of schools' infrastructure, several new schools will be built and with others undergoing major rehabilitation, including the Grenada Christian Academy, the St. David's Catholic Secondary School, the St. Andrews Anglican Primary School, and the Florida Government School, among others. Legislative priorities for the new Parliament session include a further amendment to the Education Act to incorporate provisions for school safety and climate resilience. Youth empowerment and sport. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, the Ministry of Youth and Sports marked a successful 2024 to 2025, beginning with the refurbishment of a national cricket stadium. This upgrade enabled Grenada to host the Australia-West Indies Test match, and preparations are now underway for a landmark addition, the Grenada National Aquatic Centre at Queen's Park, to further elevate Grenada's sporting infrastructure. In October, the Ministry will launch a new physical education and coaching program in all primary schools. This 2-year initiative aims to develop sports and promote health and wellness among our youth. We proudly salute our national athletes, Sir Karani James, Mr. Anderson Peters, Mr. Lyndon Victor, Ms. Kelsey Morel-Ross, and others, currently preparing for the 2025 World Athletics Championships in Tokyo, Japan. The outstanding performances of our athletes on regional and international stages continue to inspire the nation and reflect the Ministry's commitment to sporting excellence. Looking ahead to 2026, several transformative projects are in progress. The lighting of the Progress Park to international standards for night games and community events, upgrading the lighting at the National Cricket Stadium to host night cricket during the 2026 West Indies Tour, refurbishment of the Lassages playing field, including lighting for training and hosting competitions, upgrade of the Tanti Netball Court, which successfully hosted the 2025 ECCB Netball Tournament. The implementation of the National Policy on Sports and Physical Activity has led to the full activation of parish sports councils, each with a leadership team delivering community programs. These councils are vital to the Ministry's grassroots development, a key focus for 2025 to 2026. Regular engagement with council directors will ensure alignment, accountability, and shared purpose. The Ministry remains committed to advancing sports nationwide through strong leadership, community dedication, and a collective drive to nurture talent and promote healthy lifestyles. Healthcare. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament. In the area of healthcare, my government remains firmly committed to transforming the Grenadian healthcare system into a first-class model for the benefit of all Grenadians. Over the past 3 years, we have taken significant steps to address the current challenges in the system while keeping in sharp focus our long-term vision to make Grenada the healthcare capital of the Eastern Caribbean. Our quality improvement program at the General Hospital, in collaboration with the Mount Sinai Hospital, is progressing smoothly. We are actively addressing human resource challenges and our inventory system to reduce wastage and ensure a reliable supply of pharmaceuticals and medicines. We are also making significant progress in upgrading our healthcare infrastructure to support delivery at the primary healthcare level. Focus will also remain on improving the capacity of our healthcare professionals, both in terms of the number of doctors, nurses, and support staff. My government has given clear policy directives to fast-track the regularization of our hundreds of nurses who have been left demoralized by the unfair and unequal labor and employment practices meted out to them by the past government. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, I wish to assure our hard-working nurses that your government will not leave you behind, as it has not left our teachers, police officers, prison officers, and other government employees behind. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, as recently as 2 weeks ago, the Cabinet gave directives for 33 graduate nurses to be given a 6-month internship and to be paid while doing the internship, ensuring they receive essential hands-on training before being fully commissioned as registered nurses. The days of employing our nurses through grant crease, Madam President, Mr. Speaker, will soon come to an end. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, as we continue to focus on improving human resource capacity and retention in the healthcare sector, we will realign our scholarship policy to significantly increase opportunities across all areas of the healthcare sector. This medium-term strategy aims to address current capacity gaps and strengthen the sector's future workforce. Further, Madam President, Mr. Speaker, if we are to improve on the quality of care, the efficiency of service, and the mandate for accountability and transparency in the delivery of healthcare in Grenada, the existing institutional framework through which healthcare is delivered must be transformed. There is no other option, Madam President, Mr. Speaker. To that end, the government approved the establishment of the Statutorization Transition Team, STT, which became operational in April 2025. The STT is tasked with implementing the provisions of the Hospital Authorities Act of the Revised Laws of Grenada 2010, thereby seamlessly transitioning the operations of 3 existing hospitals, the General Hospital, Princess Alice Hospital, and Princess Royal Hospital, from the Ministry of Health to the Grenada Hospitals Authority within 12 months. It is anticipated that when Project Polaris is commissioned, it will also operate under the auspices of the GHA. The work of the Statutorization Transition Team has commenced in earnest, with several activities being undertaken, including consultation with trade unions that represent workers employed by the Government of Grenada who work at these hospitals and ancillary facilities. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, we wish to assure our workers and their representative trade unions that the transition to statutory body will be in the best interests of not only the workers, but also in the nation's interests, as the current institutional framework is simply incapable of delivering the kind of quality health care that our nation deserves. The working conditions and terms of employment will leave our workers gratified and well compensated. We therefore call upon the trade unions to actively take part in the consultations and the process of statutorization, as it is in the best interest of the workers. Significant strides have been made by the Project Polaris team in concluding negotiations for the financing of the construction of the new smart teaching hospital. We expect these negotiations to conclude before the end of the year. The financing will be via a combination of very concessional debt financing, equity, grants, and donations, and Government of Grenada contribution. The Ministry of Finance has already set aside US $25 million as its initial equity contribution to the project. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, the government will also encourage national and diaspora philanthropy towards Project Polaris by opening a bank account, a special bank account at the Ministry of Finance, into which citizens and well-wishers of Grenada can donate towards the construction of the hospital. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, I have been asked by the Prime Minister and his cabinet to convey to you that the Prime Minister and his cabinet will lead by example and start this process by donating 1 month's salary before the end of 2025, and thereafter 1 month's salary in each calendar year until Project Polaris is commissioned, towards a cost of construction of Project Polaris. This is being done both as a symbolic and substantive show of our personal and national commitment towards this transformative project, and also to encourage our citizens, friends, and well-wishers at home and abroad to own our hospital and healthcare industry. We encourage all our citizens, friends, and well-wishers to contribute whatever you can towards this initiative. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, we will ask the designers of the hospital to include a dedicated space, digital or physical, to honor all donors contributing to this transformative initiative. The preparatory works towards the start of construction of Project Polaris is on schedule. A master site planner has already been retained to do the site planning for the entire 83 acres, as we will develop the site into a world-class medical city. In this session of Parliament, my government looks forward to the commencement of construction work on Project Polaris in 2026, including mobilization and site preparation. Of particular importance, honorable members, is the implementation of the National Health Insurance Plan to ensure that every Grenadian can access quality healthcare services. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, my government has taken bold steps to expand access to mental health services, reduce social stigma, and integrate mental wellness into our primary healthcare framework. A major milestone in this effort is the commencement of construction work at the Maribor Rehabilitation Center, a modern patient-centered facility that will provide high-quality care for individuals facing mental health challenges. At the same time, we are advancing new mental health legislation supported by national consultations to modernize our framework, protect the dignity of our citizens, and reduce stigma. Affordable housing. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament. Affordable housing remains a top priority of my government. Under Phase 1 of Project 500, the pilot project at Dunfermline is well advanced, targeting the construction of 17 model homes. I am pleased to report that construction is approximately 80% complete, supported by major infrastructural upgrades, including roadways, sidewalks, drainage systems, and utility connections. Preparation for Phase 2 is also well underway, with site clearing and development designs finalized. This phase will move forward with the assessment of the pilot's outcomes. To date, an investment of $13.1 million has been committed across both phases. Looking ahead, Project 500 will continue in the new session of Parliament as we expand our efforts to ensure that even more of our citizens can have access to safe, modern, and affordable housing. Renewable energy. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, over the past year, my government has taken bold and deliberate steps to accelerate Grenada's transition to a sustainable and climate-resilient future. We have mobilized hundreds of millions of dollars in grants and concessional financing, laying the foundation for transformative renewable energy projects. We have strengthened our legislative and institutional frameworks to ensure that long-term resilience, and we are building a future where clean energy powers development, protects our environment, and enhances the quality of life for our people. In 2025, Grenada secured an additional £10 million in grant financing from the United Kingdom to support geothermal exploration, alongside approval from the World Bank of 2 major initiatives focused on green buildings and renewable energy infrastructure. The ministry launched the Solar for All initiative to expand access to clean energy, resumed work on the large-scale photovoltaic project in Carriacou, and advanced national energy planning through investment-grade audits. Capacity building was central. Over 60 refrigerant importers were trained, sustainable cooling technologies were introduced, and Grenadians received training in electric vehicle maintenance and sustainability management. We finalized Grenada's cooling roadmap, reformed the National Climate Change Network, and established a national sargassum task force. Significant policy work included updating the National Adaptation Plan, progressing the Environment Management Bill, and preparing for implementation of the Escazú Agreement. Looking ahead to 2026, the Ministry will accelerate geothermal development, expand the Solar for All initiative, implement the climate change policy, and update our biodiversity strategy and ecosystem assessment. An ambitious legislative agenda will also be brought forward, including the Environment Bill, the Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy Bills, and updated regulations under the Montreal Protocol. These actions will strengthen Grenada's environmental governance, build resilience, and secure a sustainable future for all. enhancing key productive sectors. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, my government will continue to invest heavily to expand the key productive sectors to further boost growth and employment opportunities. Agriculture, forestry, and the blue economy. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, my government remains steadfast in its commitment to strengthening and expanding the contribution of the agriculture, forestry, and blue economy sectors to national development. Despite the severe challenges posed by Hurricane Beryl, we have made important strides in safeguarding rural livelihoods, stabilizing production, and supporting our farmers, fisherfolk, and agro-processors. Emergency relief measures, including cash grants, were swiftly deployed, seedlings and inputs were distributed, and targeted interventions were undertaken to protect critical forest reserves and marine resources. These achievements underscore our determination to ensure that these sectors remain central to economic recovery, sustainable growth, and rural development. Looking ahead, my government will intensify efforts to accelerate recovery and unlock the full potential of those productive sectors. We will prioritize research and innovation, the replanting of our world-renowned spices, the strengthening of livestock production, land tenure regularization, and the expansion of agro-processing industries. Focus will also be placed on enhancing resilience through climate-smart practices, reforestation, and sustainable management of our marine resources. By pursuing these strategies, we will secure food and nutrition security, generate new jobs, and position Grenada as a leader in sustainable agriculture, forestry, and the blue economy. Legislative priorities for the 2025 to 2026 period include the repeal and replacement of the Fisheries Act and amendments to the Forestry Act to include inter alia climate change considerations. Most importantly, my government will take decisive steps to address legal and other deficiencies regarding the U.S. seafood export restrictions that face our nation and other countries early next year. Tourism, the creative economy, and culture. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, my government recognizes these sectors as key drivers of job creation, entrepreneurship, heritage preservation, and foreign exchange earnings. In the past year, we supported 13 community tourism initiatives, fostering rural economic diversification and empowering local livelihoods. We also launched the Granitang Shoreline Trail project designed to enhance visitor safety and enrich the ecotourism experience. Meanwhile, the Grenada Tourism Authority, in close collaboration with the Airlift Committee, has worked assiduously to promote our distinctive tourism brand and expand both regional and international connectivity, ensuring that Grenada remains accessible, attractive, and authentically Caribbean. In the creative economy, 5 new sub-sector associations were established. The historic Priory Building was acquired for the future National Art Gallery, and financing programs, including grants and business support, were expanded. The first National Creative Registry and the National Culture and Creative Industries Strategy were launched, alongside training initiatives like the Music Producers Masterclass. The Division of Culture showcased Grenadian creativity internationally, strengthened cultural education and community programs, and advanced preliminary work for the National Heroes Park. In the new session of Parliament, priorities include expanding sustainable tourism, launching the TAMCC Associate Degree in Culture and Creative Industries, advancing policy and legislative reforms, and completing the Priory building renovation on Church Street, St. George. Legislative priorities for this parliamentary cycle include introducing creative and cultural industry legislation to strengthen sector governance and streamlining the acts governing cultural entities such as the Cultural Foundation, Spice Mass, and the National Museum. Building a digital economy. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, my government reaffirms its unwavering commitment to transforming Grenada into a modern digital economy, one that harnesses the power of technology to not only improve efficiency, transparency, and service delivery, but also as a driver of economic growth and jobs. In the past year, significant progress has been made in enhancing digital skills and capacity across the public sector and wider society. To date, over 540 individuals have been trained, including more than 200 citizens who completed the basic digital literacy program. Public officers have been upskilled in tools such as Microsoft Excel, and educators have been introduced to the integration of artificial intelligence in the classroom. Further, a contract is underway to train data protection officers across 4 key ministries, reinforcing government's commitment to responsible data governance and public sector readiness. The private sector is also being actively supported to adapt and grow in the digital age. Training programs and digital content development are empowering small business owners with essential tools, while more than 40 entrepreneurs have received grant funding to build their digital capacities. In the vital area of cybersecurity, my government has launched Grenada's cybersecurity awareness campaign and is making steady progress towards establishing the Cybersecurity Agency facility at Montjulu, which construction is expected to begin before the end of 2025. Added to that, the first cohort of trainees under our digital workforce program has completed their training and have graduated, and will begin to receive job placements in the coming months. In this new session of Parliament, my government will continue to advance policies and initiatives that expand digital infrastructure, strengthen cybersecurity, and empower citizens with the skills needed to thrive in a knowledge-based society. From e-government services and digital payments to innovation in education, health, and commerce, the digital agenda will drive greater productivity and opportunity for all Grenadians. Resilient physical infrastructure, transportation, and public utilities. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, Grenada's roads and bridges are the backbone of our economy. Years of underinvestment have left many roads in poor condition and bridges limited to single lanes. To address this, my government is launching a major roads and bridges development, rehabilitation, and maintenance program. Key projects that will be targeted in this new session of Parliament include the Point Celine to Woodlands Road upgrade, the Cliff to Egmont Junction Road rehabilitation, Tempe to Mount Kuma Road improvement, the Mabuya Road reconstruction, and major bridges including Marquis, Mades, Mofendu, and Mount Rich. A strengthened maintenance program will keep our roads safe, resilient, and reliable. In addition, a key reform in the coming year will be the introduction of a risk-based asset management system. This system will enable the creation of a reliable registry of public buildings and critical infrastructure, supporting systematic assessments, timely maintenance, and better informed investment decisions. In the area of transportation, my government is committed to modernizing public transport, improving service, safety, and connectivity for all Grenadians. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, in the area of public utilities, my government will implement new self-generation regulations to support renewable energy, enabling households and businesses to produce, use, and sell clean electricity, advancing Grenada's independence and climate commitments. Furthermore, my government will operationalize the Water Resource Management Unit to support the production and distribution of safe and reliable drinking water. Investing in Carriacou and Petit Martinique. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, my government has made significant strides in the recovery of Carriacou and Petit Martinique after the devastating impact of Hurricane Beryl, restoring homes, schools, clinics, and critical infrastructure, while supporting farmers, fisher folk, small businesses, and preserving our cultural heritage. Progress has also been made on the long-awaited night landing facility at Lauriston Airport, which will strengthen connectivity, emergency response, and tourism. In the year ahead, we will advance climate-resilient housing, expand social protection for the most vulnerable, and continue the rehabilitation of roads, ports, and public facilities. Priority will also be given to seed advances and the promotion of climate-smart agriculture, ensuring stronger livelihoods, enhanced food security, and greater resilience for our sister isles. Investing in critical areas: mobilization, implementation, and transformation. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, the Ministry of Mobilization, Implementation, and Transformation advanced my government's transformative agenda in the past 12 months through housing recovery and support, with over 120 homes under construction or repair post-Hurricane Beryl, and 90 units delivered under the Special Housing Program. Key infrastructure achievements included 41 new roads, nationwide installation of 938 solar streetlights, removal of over 270 derelict vehicles, and progress on landmark projects such as the Karani James Boulevard and the restoration of Fort George. The ministry also spearheaded critical World Bank-supported initiatives, strengthening Grenada's resilience, advancing the blue economy, enhancing data-driven decision-making, promoting digital transformation, and improving health systems capacity. Public engagement was prioritized through town halls and support to budget consultation. In this new session of Parliament, the Ministry will continue to drive these transformative efforts by focusing on community infrastructure, including rehabilitation of medical stations, small roads, sporting facilities, solar lighting, and community centers. Implementation of World Bank projects will remain central, with key components including coastal protection and flood mitigation under the Grenada Resilience Improvement Project, support for fisheries, agriculture, and coastal asset management under the Unleashing the Blue Economy project, enhancing statistical capacity through the Data for Decision-Making project, digital skills development, cybersecurity, and private sector digital adaptation through the Caribbean Digital Transformation Project, and health systems strengthening and emergency preparedness under the OECS Regional Health Project. These efforts will ensure a more resilient, connected, and sustainable Grenada for all. Sustainable development and planning. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, over the past year, my government has strengthened its commitment to sustainable economic growth, social resilience, and financial stability. Strategic initiatives have been implemented to enhance public sector capacity, advance climate resilience and social protection projects totaling $38 million, and to ensure efficient management of the public sector investment program. Significant community development under the Basic Needs Trust Fund, BNTF, Cycle 10 was achieved, including the completion of the Bonaire Bridge, ongoing work on the refurbishment of St. Dominic's RC School Block 5, and the expansion of the Victoria School for Special Education. Building on this project, BNTF Cycle 11 has been approved with a US $5.4 million grant to continue supporting community-led development initiatives. The Climate Smart Agriculture and Rural Enterprise Program, CEAP, reached over 4,500 beneficiaries, providing vocational training, business development support, climate-smart agricultural practices, and grants to strengthen livelihoods and resilience. Looking ahead to the new parliamentary session, my government will implement the Resilience Integration Program for Environmental Sustainability, a bold initiative to support rural enterprise cooperatives, climate-smart practices, and resilience building across our communities. The rollout of BNTF Cycle 11, alongside continued investment in climate-smart agriculture, fisheries, and rural development, will further reinforce our commitment to sustainable and inclusive growth across Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Advancing public service excellence through performance management and regularization. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, my government remains steadfast in its commitment to transformation, modernization, and excellence in governance, with the public service at the heart of national development. Guided by the principles of responsiveness, ethics, professionalism, and citizen focus, we are advancing a bold transformation agenda through the Department of Public Administration.
As we get to the 1 o'clock hour, we just want to remind those who are listening on radio to please join us on the online platform, YouTube or Facebook, because the program today will go beyond the 1 o'clock hour to about maybe 1:25 thereabout. So thank you for being part of the Heartbeat today.
Key achievements in the past year. We have made significant progress in the regularization exercise, addressing disparities in job security, compensation, and professional mobility. Hundreds of officers have been confirmed in positions with salary adjustments exceeding $18 million paid. We have operationalized the integrated performance management system, aligning employee work plans with national priorities, promoting continuous engagement, reinforcing professionalism, applying the SMART framework, and introducing recognition for excellence. We have led the introduction of the new defined contribution pension plan for government employees who previously did not qualify for a government pension. We have also completed the long-standing pay and grade adjustment exercises for our hardworking and dedicated police officers. Looking ahead in the new parliamentary session, my government will complete the regularization exercise, fostering equity, stability, and improve morale across the public service, institutionalize the IPMS across all levels, embedding a culture of accountability and excellence, support the administration of new defined contribution pension plan, revise and modernize human resource policies, staff orders, and the public service reform strategy, operationalize the employee assistance program to enhance worker well-being. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, in the year ahead, my government will strengthen results-driven leadership, expand digital services, and scale national cybersecurity training. Central to this effort will be the Digital Transformation Agency Bill, which will modernize governance, safeguard our systems, and ensure faster, more efficient services, making government more transparent, resilient, and focused on improving the lives of every Grenadian. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, through these reforms, the public service will continue to be modern, accountable, and people-centered, serving as a trusted partner in building a sustainable, equitable, and prosperous Grenada. Strengthening social protection and advancing gender equity. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, my government remains steadfast in its commitment to strengthening social protection and ensuring that no citizen is left behind. Over the past 3 years, my government has acted decisively to cushion our people from the negative impacts of global shocks that continue to affect the prices of goods and services in our domestic economy. Through a combination of strategic interventions, my government has protected household welfare while safeguarding national stability. These include the adjustment to minimum wage, which was left untouched for more than a decade, the completion of wage negotiations and settlement of a 13% salary increase for government workers, a 36% reduction in the petrol tax, and introduction of a $10 electricity subsidy for over 20,000 households, the removal of value-added tax on more than 20 basic food items and other essential commodities, as well as a transport subsidy to keep the cost of public transportation down. These measures have played an important role in tempering the effects of domestic inflationary pressures, by putting more monies in the hands of ordinary Grenadian families. At the same time, my government continues to ensure that the benefits of national progress are shared equitably. Gender equity is now a guiding principle in all projects and programs, ensuring that women, men, and vulnerable groups are empowered and supported in equal measure. This approach strengthens the fabric of our society, deepens fairness, and expands opportunities for all. Ensuring citizen safety and public order. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament. The safety of our people remains a cornerstone of national development. Over the past year, my government has strengthened the pillars of national security, enhancing the capacity of our police force, improving prison management, and modernizing our immigration system. These efforts have contributed to keeping crime levels low and ensuring that Grenadians can live and work in peace. My government has also begun to address long-standing occupational safety and health challenges in our police facilities. Several police stations have been rebuilt, including securing a new headquarters for the Royal Grenada Police Force, giving our officers safer and more modern environment in which to serve. At the level of our prisons, my government has prioritized training and rehabilitation programs aimed at preparing inmates for reintegration into the society, with a focus on reducing reoffending. Looking ahead, Cabinet has already approved the purchase of a new Coast Guard vessel at an estimated cost of US $20 million to strengthen our maritime security and border protection. My government will also continue its work to rehabilitate and repair police stations across the length and breadth of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, while deepening community policing, expanding prison rehabilitation, and applying new technologies to enhance security operations. Our objective is clear: to safeguard Grenada's low crime status, to maintain peace and order, and to guarantee that every citizen and visitor enjoys the protection and tranquility that our nation deserves. More details on the strategic priorities and expected outcomes for 2026 will be provided during the 2026 budget presentation. Foreign Affairs and Trade. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, my government will continue to pursue a principled foreign policy that strengthens regional and international partnerships through the OECS, CARICOM, CELAC, the ACS, and the wider Commonwealth, while deepening cooperation with traditional allies and forging new ties across Latin America, Africa, Asia, and beyond. We will champion urgent climate action, fairer trade and finance, and use economic diplomacy to expand export markets, modernize trade facilitation, and secure greater opportunities for Grenadian goods, services, and people to thrive globally. In this effort, we reaffirm our enduring commitment to the Grenadian diaspora, whose skills, investments, and cultural contributions remain vital to our national development. Other legislative priorities. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament. Before I conclude, allow me to briefly highlight a few additional legislative priorities that will shape our national agenda in the coming months. 1. Amendment to the Banking Act to inter alia promote responsible financial conduct and enhance consumer protection, including regularization of fees and charges. 2. Age of Legal Civil Responsibility Amendment Act, Liberties Amendment. 3. Modernize the Labor Code to better support industrial peace and harmony and to safeguard workers' rights, including elevating occupational safety and health standards. Conclusion. Madam President, Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament, as we chart the course for the year ahead, my government reaffirms its unwavering commitment to responsible leadership, strategic vision, and inclusive governance. The decisions we make today, the policies we advance, and the sacrifices we make must be rooted in a deep and enduring love for this nation and its people. Let us rebuild not only the structure damaged by disaster, but the systems, institutions, and values that define our core values and development path. Let this new session be one of continued progress, courage, and unity. May we serve our people with compassion, competence, and vision. It is therefore my distinct honor to declare the fourth session of the 11th Parliament of Grenada open. May God continue to bless and protect our nation.
You have chosen unity over disunity. You have chosen resilience, flexibility, inclusiveness, and strength over infighting, weakness, vacillation, or wish-washiness. You have chosen boldness and courage over timidity and the same old, same old. You have chosen positive change and transformation. You have sent a clear and resounding message to the tri-island state of Petit Martinique, Carriacou, and Grenada that the National Democratic Congress is once more on the path of inspiring hope and belief in our people and in our nation. That the National Democratic Congress is once more on the path of beginning the process of creating a sustainable and brighter future for our young, vibrant, creative, and innovative population. You have recognized and honored and rewarded the tremendous contributions made by all of the NDC stalwarts. And for this superb choice, I say thank you.
The National Democratic Congress Party wishes to take this opportunity to extend thanks and appreciation to Leslie McQueen and his team out in Florida, that's the NDC chapter, for this great donation which they have recently made to the New Life organization, making a great difference for the young people at the New Life organization institution. It consisted of tools and equipment, and it's an entire 20-foot container of such equipment. Thank you very much, Leslie, and to you and your team. Thank you very much. Continue the great works. Goodbye.
Grenada is moving forward, and young people like you are at the heart of it. The National Democratic Youth Movement is all about connecting, learning, and making real impact. This is your chance to be a part of something bigger, to grow, to lead, and shape the future while making a difference. If you are ready to step up, have your voice heard, and help build a better Grenada, then the National Democratic Youth Movement is the organization for you. Join us because you are the future.
Get ready for a night of celebration. The NDC New York chapter proudly invites you to our party's 38th anniversary and awards reception. Happening October 18th at 7:30 p.m. right here at Our Lady of Miracles Paris Center, 757 East 86th Street, between Flatlands Avenue and Glenwood Road in Brooklyn. Dress to impress and join us as we honor our legacy and empower our future with special guest of honor, Honorable Karen James, MP for St. John. Tickets are $150 all inclusive. Get your early bird discount for just $125 before September 19th. Visit ndcnewyorkchapter.com or call 347-729-5770 for more information. Celebrate Grenada's excellence. Secure your ticket now for the NDC New York chapter's 38th anniversary and award reception. Be part of an unforgettable night of elegance and class. Don't miss the party of the year. See you there.
Now we are speaking with the Honorable Tevin Andrews, the MP for Minister of Carriacou and Petite Martinique Affairs and Local Government. Minister Andrew, welcome.
Good afternoon and thank you very much. And look forward to this interview.
Always a pleasure speaking. Carriacou is the topic. Carriacou is the topic, always has been. Came at the front of the banner last year after burial.
Yes.
Would have devastated the sister island, our sister island. Speak to us about what's happening at Carriacou.
Yes, Carriacou and Petite Martinique, indeed the hot topic. A lot has happened. As many people know, Category 4 hurricane Beryl devastated the island of Carriacou and Petite Martinique, leaving a trail of destruction. 98% of homes and livelihood was destroyed, critical infrastructure, etc. 1 year, 2 months later, where are we? All healthcare facility, our hospital, our clinics have either been fully restored or are being constructed. So the ones that are under construction now is Petite Martinique, which is about 80% completed, and Mount Pleasant, which is about 95% completed. All the others are back up and running. It's also important to note that the healthcare facilities are not just, we didn't just renovate them, we upgraded them, and we also have new and modern equipment. So for example, our hospital, we had an old X-ray machine, now we have a brand new modern X-ray machine along with other modern equipment and other services that we are now able to provide for the people of Carriacou and Petite Martinique. Our police station, our airport, our seaport, all government buildings were impacted one way or the other. And I'm happy to announce that all of those facilities, critical facilities, are back up and running. Interestingly, all of our schools except one, which is a pre-primary school, was impacted. The one that was not impacted was the Bogles pre-primary. And I must admit the Ministry of Education did a wonderful job, and I must commend the Minister for Education and his team for doing a fabulous job in getting schools back up and running in shortest possible time frame. As a matter of fact, school was reopened, I think, in October. So burial hit the 1st of July. Schools were destroyed or damaged, lost its roof, etc. All furniture, all equipment. And school was able to reopen a couple months, just a matter of months. So certainly it meant that the team within the Ministry of Education must be commended. Of course, the Minister and Ministry of Infrastructure as well. But it goes to just show that we've been putting in the work with the critical infrastructure, healthcare, schools, etc. Another thing that must be talked about is the fabulous job that the Minister for Climate and Environment has done. Read the cleanup process in Karakou, led by the Minister for Mobilization, but the heavy lifting with all of the equipment and so on. The Minister Kieran James must be commended. Karakou is now debris free. Hundreds of thousands, hundreds of millions of cubic yards of debris scattered all over Karakou is now off the island. And again, it speaks about the resilience of the people, of our people. It speaks about the strength of this government and our resolve to ensure that we restore lives and livelihoods in Karakou and Petit Martinique. So our playing fields were being used as temporary storage sites for those debris. And I'm happy that all of those playing fields are now cleared and are being upgraded as we speak. And again, the minister must be commended for that vision in getting a specialized equipment that sanitize the playing field, from separating, getting all the little pieces of metal and plastics that our naked eyes can't see. The special machine that was brought in, and it were able to sanitize the playing fields. So certainly we are on the right track, and there's only up from here. We're building homes. A number of people, 116 people received homes in Karakou and Petit Martinique. There is 22 more homes that are being constructed, and of course, as you heard in the throne speech, we intend to build even more homes for the residents that are affected in that aspect in terms of losing homes. But not only that, we've provided millions of dollars worth in roofing material assistance. I mean, if you went to Karakou days or weeks after Hurricane Beryl and you recently visited Karakou, you would see for yourself what I'm talking about in terms of the improvement. As a matter of fact, not only homes, businesses which were destroyed have bounced back bigger, better, more resilient. I'm talking about like Paradise Beach Club and several others who have expanded and who have emerged from this crisis even stronger. So it speaks about the strength and tenacity and resilience of the people of Karakou and Petit Martinique. Yes.
So as you said this morning, the crisis certainly was not wasted.
Not at all. Not at all.
As you perhaps wrap up, the lighting of the night flights to Lauriston, I know that's one that you've been excited about. Can you talk to us about that?
Well, I'm surprised you say wrap up because there's more to see, but you see, you get me all started.
And then you want to cut you short.
Yes, so we could talk about night landing. Listen, night landing is something that Hubert Blease, former Prime Minister, former Member of Parliament, dreamed about. It was his dream that the airport was brought to Karakou. As a matter of fact, the plan is by the end of the year, providing that the night landing facility all installed and we get the go-ahead from the experts. The intention is to also rename the airport after Hubert Blease, Augustus Blease, which is his dream. So since then, members of Parliament and ministers have been trying their best to see how they can facilitate this night landing, and it hasn't happened. And I'm happy that under the leadership of Prime Minister Mitchell Deacon and under my stewardship as Member of Parliament and Minister, that it's actually happening. The team at the Grenada Airports Authority must also be commended for their excellent work. So that will help us in a number of ways. One, for emergency, if there's an emergency on the island at night, for tourism purposes, among other aspects. So certainly taking Karakou to higher heights. We've recently made some investment with with one of our ambassadors, Ambassador Piero Zipoli, in building a boat building school, building locally built traditional boats in Karakou. Now, Ambassador Zipoli, one of his experts is to organize massive trade shows. I think I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of people and businesses, and he is linked up with a leading trade show that deals with boats. So he's building the first boat, and will be taking that first locally built boat to that massive trade show. And the intention is to get markets, clients, to start buying boats. So there's a number of things that it's multiple effects that we're having. One, we're keeping the tradition alive by passing it on to the next generation. Two, business opportunities for our people. So they're not just building the boats and leave. And three, of course, tourism purposes. People could visit Carriacou and they can see. So there are multiple approaches. So hence we're building the airport. The night landing. Hence we're trying to keep our traditions going. And doing all of that while we recover from Hurricane Beryl. And you heard in the throne speech, Windward Jetty will soon start. That project it will officially start or will be started sometime in November. You'll hear more details on that. And I could go on and on with other projects like the tennis court and other things, but we'll stop here from now. I know that there are other colleagues waiting to be interviewed.
Minister Andrews, always a pleasure hearing it from you. You see, that's the thing. Sometimes we need to hear it, yeah?
No problem.
So today, Russell, I think we need to create another platform so
Why
we
not?
continue to hear them.
Why not?
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm open for that.
I think Carriacou and
But
Peter
we're happy to hear that Carriacou is coming back.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. So,
Thank
to
you.
you and your team, the best, and thank you again.
Thank you.
We have with us the Senator, the Honorable David Andrews, Minister for Education. He's joining us to chat a bit about the things in the throne speech that speak to education, and there's been quite a bit for us to get excited about. We mentioned the TVET policy, that great leap to put the money where the mouth is, 3%. Currently, we want to move to 50% by 2030. Ambitious goal, but we are known for being ambitious and getting things done. So talk to us about the...
So thank you very much for the opportunity to just share insight into some of the things mentioned in the throne speech. As Minister for Education at this time, I'm excited, I'm happy. In fact, for the last couple of budget cycles, this administration has been prioritizing education. In the last budget cycle, in fact, the 2024-25 budget, education received the largest allocation. So it's not strange that the government continues to focus and prioritize education. We believe that if our country is going to be transformed, we have to start with education. Healthcare will tell you the same thing probably, and agriculture. They will argue their cases. But we genuinely believe that education is a foundational element for transforming our country. And so over the years, things like skills education, we've talked a lot about it, but when you really go down to analyzing how the budgetary allocations are subdivided, you realize not very much is allocated for skills. And so we can talk a lot about it, but your hands are tied financially and you're not able to do as much as you might desire, as might be desirable. And that's, so the proclamation in the throne speech, to work towards having a 50% increase or to have it be 50% by 2030 is indicative of the realization at this level that we have to put the money in to get the output. And that is going to align our output, the products of our education system, with the world of work. That ties in well with our plans to prioritize the skill centers, the centers of excellence, because skills education is costly, whether we like it or not. If we are going to have quality output in terms of skills, we need to have state-of-the-art facilities, the equipment, state-of-the-art, and those things you need to be upgrading, and you need standards to work with, the safety gear, all of these things. So we are clear, and I'm excited as the minister that even that proclamation has been made in relation to the skills.
Excellent. Speak to us about scholarships. We know that
The government is in the process of redrafting the national scholarship policy.
Yeah. So scholarships is another huge area for us in education. Even before I talk about the scholarship policy, we can talk about the first generation scholarship opportunity that Grenadian families now have, where we target families where nobody had previously gone to a university. And so the first generation scholarship opportunity targets those people. And right now we have just over 100 persons, families, where this person will be the first generation, the first person in their family to go to university. And that's a collaboration between the government of Grenada and Monroe University. It's currently happening. We just, Cabinet approved the latest list of just over 60 to start in September, so some of them have started. Previously we had about 50 plus, And so that's going very well, and it's giving people who probably ordinarily would have thought, I could never do this. It's not possible. They're getting that opportunity. But in addition, we're having a national strategic scholarship policy that's being reviewed, it's being revised. It was shared with Cabinet for initial approval and further guidelines. We are consulting with key sectors right now to ensure that the policy informs what are the priorities, what are the areas we need to build capacity in. So the Human Resource Department of the Ministry of Education is focusing that. Obviously, we are going to target the new hospital because we are going to need hundreds of new staff to maintain the medical city that we're talking about. So we have to train and build that capacity. We are currently doing that. We've sent persons to study the creative arts. Recently, we've approved at least 2 young persons to go to Edna Manley College in Jamaica. We're sending other persons, specialists. We sent a couple medical doctors to specialize in Guyana. And part of the policy would see us continue to do that and formalize the sectors that we are going to get people to study in to support the direction that we want to go in nationally.
In addition to that, I recognize that government is also placing focus on that of repairing, upgrading, and maintaining our infrastructure, our schools, which is critical.
Oh yeah, that for us is a huge step in the right direction. For the last year, we were using a school maintenance mechanism where we had contractors preventatively maintaining schools. But the place we had come from required so much work that you probably hardly saw the benefit of the preventative part of it. And then burial hit us so strongly too that it had to have us redirect a lot of our resources to take care of schools in CARICOM, Petit Martinique, and to ensure that we were back up and running. But school maintenance is critical. We are moving towards preventative maintenance. We have evaluated that mechanism and we are continuing with preventative school maintenance. And in terms of the repairs to school, that's ongoing. We are upgrading, and all of the new construction that we're doing, they're going to be climate smart, and resilient infrastructure with water harvesting capacity and access. So lifts and ramps and those things to facilitate access for all. And we are excited at a number of schools, from the Anglican school in Grenville to the Sacred Heart, the preschool in Tivoli, St. Andrew, to St. David's Catholic Secondary, to Florida government. We are currently preparing to house the students because soon we are going to relocate the students from the current building to temporary structures to have that school officially commence the work there. So it's a lot of exciting things happening by way of school infrastructure, and we're doing that all in a time when we are focused on building them better, climate ready, climate smart, and very resilient infrastructure.
Excellent. Okay. Again, the teacher in me is coming out of it. So you mentioned within the throne speech, we did hear our Governor General speak to the digital devices and ebook management policy and the investment that has been made in that. We know that there's been a thrust from government side to digitize and to move the country and a lot of the public services into a digital age. Can you speak to that with respect to education and where we'll be headed for 2026 and onwards?
So I think education is fitting nicely into government's national thrust for digitization of a lot of things, finances and all of services. And we recently launched the OECS harmonized digital curriculum for primary schools, which gives teachers online resources, lesson plans, a repository of material that they can access to make the teaching learning process better, interactive quizzes, assessments, all of these things available online. So that was only the week gone. But also the policy to have ebooks brought to Form 1s and 2 students is very strategic because we're giving them a laptop and military grade, so not devices that will break or fall very easily and be damaged, because our previous learning taught us that the devices were not of the strongest quality, and that turned out to be a liability, a recurring liability for the Ministry of Education and the government. And so we're giving them higher grade, military grade devices and the ebooks. And here too, it's very instructive because the ebooks are not just ebooks with aligned content material. They are the ebooks of the actual book lists that students are using. So there's no longer the need to do the research in one resource material and then go in the ebooks and say, well, which pages align with which pages? It's the actual document. So we are sure that there's going to be stronger uptake, but it shows government's commitment to staying current and making sure that the electronic ecosystem that students need to survive and to function well in this era is supported and is pursued by our ministry and our government.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Minister Andrew. It was a pleasure speaking with you. We know that we will be hearing more. As we know, this is just the framework for what the budget is going to be in the coming months. So we look forward to. But we also want to commend you on your hard work in the education sector. Russell, I'm speaking now for Russell, saying thank you on behalf of Russell. Russell will always be a teacher, yes. But to us parents, as we continue to move in that direction of ensuring that our children and ourselves are better educated.
Thank you very much. Thanks for chit-chatting with us.
That was your program for today, and join us again next Sunday when we'll have other equally stimulating and interesting programs and conversations to share with you. So have a great Sunday afternoon. See you next Sunday. Goodbye.